William, you're not a new trainer, but you're probably one of the newer trainers here in Newmarket. Just explain about your sort of pathway to here at Newmarket.
Yeah, well, I was originally assistant to Ed Dunlop in Newmarket over 14 years ago. I'd been there 6 years and then decided we set up training down in Sussex. And we've made the move back to Newmarket. It seems very strange, 14 years later, we're sort of 2 yards higher up the Hamilton Road from where it all started.
Was it always the hope when you were sort of learning your craft with Ed that you'd train here one day?
No, to be honest, when I felt I was ready to start training, and we looked at yards in Newmarket actually and in Lambourne, and we just couldn't find the right yard to start off in, and it was just by chance Lady Herries' yard came up down in Sussex, and we looked at it, and it just seemed at that time the right thing to do.
And can you just give us an insight into the mindset of a trainer? Because when you have a training establishment in Sussex, which is where you were, you have your gallops that you like and trust, etc. You have your routine there. Like, how different is it here at Newmarket as to what you were doing in Sussex?
Well, I thought long and hard about it before I came up here, and I spoke to various trainers, friends of mine, for advice. I had obviously been an assistant here, so I sort of knew the routine, and especially as when I was assistant to Ed, he was only sort of 2 yards down from here. The routine would be quite similar to what we do here. But I think going away from home, going away from Newmarket, training elsewhere, you adapt differently, you do try different things, you're training on different gallops. I think that stood me in good stead, actually. I think I'm probably a little bit more broad-minded coming back to Newmarket. There's obviously a variety of gallops. But what was key to me was to get a routine and something I could stick to, and also something that I would feel comfortable. For example, when a horse has had a run, it's going to run in 3-4 weeks' time. When you're used to your training, so you know exactly what you want to do with that horse. You have it sort of in your mind, and you work back from that race. And I think I've quickly got into a routine of what I want to do with my horses, where, after a race, building up to a race, where I want to work them, and also getting a gauge on where they are fitness-wise as well, and trusting yourself that you're not overdoing them or underdoing them. But no, I think we've quickly got a routine going, which was I felt key, and I think has helped in the success of the horses in the last few months.
And it goes without saying that obviously you have had, and it's probably important for you to have had, good successes this year early on in your sort of switch to Newmarket. I imagine when you came here, you would have, without saying it publicly, probably really wanted to have sort of statement winners early on.
Naturally, and that was always my worry about coming up here. It's a big move for the business, for the family, and if you didn't hit the ground running, then you'll lose it. You could lose more clients, and you could be on a slippery slope. So that was very important that we hit the ground running. And I think what helped me was the fact that and when David moved to America, I was able to inherit some of a few of his horses, but also his staff. So I also came up with my staff from Sussex. So when I arrived here, I had a full team of staff, good staff. So I wasn't sort of trying to play catch up. I was able to exercise the horses how I wanted to. Also, thank God, the owners have supported me. I think 99% of the owners from Sussex have supported me for this year.
And I should just say, you mentioned David, this was David Lanigan's. You're on the Hamilton Road side for those that are trying to work out where in Newmarket we are, and we've spoken to Amy Murphy. There's like a row of trainers down here, and actually quite a good team of trainers on the Hamilton Road. What facilities are here? You mentioned the spa, which we might see you in a moment. What else? The rubber floorings and stuff. Yeah. For someone who's looking in virtually to this yard, what have you got, and what are the benefits of everything?
Well, a lovely owner's room up the top there, so that can look out over the yard, and it's nice to come in the morning, come to see their horses, have a cup of coffee or a glass of champagne or whatever they want, and be out, and it's just a lovely viewing point out over the yard. But for the horses, as you say, the rubber flooring I think is fantastic. It's safe.
Why is that good for horses?
Well, firstly it's safe. I think when horses are pulling out and they're a bit fresh, and if one horse sets off, then it sets everything else. On concrete, just the noise sets them all off. They just seem a lot more relaxed. You can pull out, they just walk around. It's safer. If they do fall over on it, it's rubber floored. Covered ride is fantastic to have. We can pull out, if we're using this side of town, they can have their warm up in there. I can see them all trot beforehand, and then they can head out onto the heath. Again, it's all about keeping the riders and horses safe. If they pull out fresh on a Monday morning, they go in there. If someone falls off, they're not going to run for miles around the heath. Swimming pool in there for the horses. Again, it's something which when I was at Ed Dunlop's as assistant, we used a lot, and we've used it on quite a few of the horses. Horses which potentially take a bit of work, and an extra bit of swimming helps them. We have an equine spa, which is, as I say, cold water therapy. It's called salt water, fantastic for sort of soft tissue. Like a rugby player gets into an ice bath after a game. It's the same thing, and we use that a lot. We're constantly using the spa. The stables are just well laid out. There's great ventilation, as you can see. There's windows on either side, so the horses, there's good air ventilation through, but it means the horses can get their heads out, they can see around a bit more, they just seem relaxed in their environment. A couple of turnout paddocks we have there. And then we also have a treadmill, which I haven't used yet, to be totally honest with you. So we will get that into action at some point, but yeah, just lots of facilities here, which as I say, and it's all on sort of one base as well, which is nice to have. We can have 80 horses in here, which seems to work well.
Terrific. Well, you seem, again, I don't want to speak for you, but you seem really happy here, and the horses are running terrifically well. So is that how you say it? Are you happy here in Newmarket?
Very much so, and I think personally, the wife and the children have settled in really well. I think lockdown's helped them, given them 6 months of no school, which has enabled them to settle in. But the staff, the horses have all settled in well. Everyone's in quite a good place at the moment. So I think we've just got to keep our foot on the throttle, keep trying to get the results on the track, and hopefully we can build the business and get bigger.